Hi guys, welcome to my creative process. Um, I am currently working on a D&D campaign. I homebrewed the entire setting. I am working through a bunch of things about history and location and all that. It all started because I wanted to do a long form campaign with my friends. Nobody was stepping up to run it, so I decided to run it on my own because I had this grand idea of a whole new world. A whole new world. That was terrible. And then that fell through the cracks one session. I think we got like 10 sessions in, so it wasn't that long. But scheduling was difficult, and then I like messed up combat on a big bad pretty badly, and it was just not good. So learn from that mistake. And then I was preparing another campaign 2, if you will, in a different time period in the same world, and in a different location, and that was going well, and I did a lot for that, and I made it, and I was really proud of it. And it's technically not done yet. Like, I think it might still be happening, but scheduling. Now, keep in mind, the group that I'm playing with, there are 9 of us, including myself, and one person's not playing, so there's 7 players in this campaign, and me. And so we're all college students, and we're all pretty busy. Like, we have 2 RAs, 2 ROTC kids, like 5 honors kids, and then like I have an on-campus job, and like we all have different class schedules. So there's just a lot going on. And so people also, it's like, oh, like what about the weekends? Well, people leave on the weekends. Like, we were supposed to do something this Friday, but one guy had a race and one was on call for RA. It's just like kind of a mess. So I don't know when that's gonna happen because we're supposed to do it on Fridays. So in the meantime, I'm preparing another campaign for a smaller group of people, which I'm excited about. And initially, it's like my creativity was kind of tanking because it's like I just dumped all of my creative thoughts into this one concept, and then like nothing resulted from it. So I was back to the drawing board, or nothing has resulted from it yet. So now I'm doing a whole different area, and every time I start a new like campaign, if you will, I get better and better at figuring out which details to focus on. I think with the first campaign, I wanted it to be like traveling around the whole world, so I had to establish literally everything at once, which was insane. Do not recommend. And that's, I think, part of the reason why it failed so hard. But actually, well, we were kind of centered on one city and it was going well, but that's besides the point. Campaign 2, I was really focused on. I am trying not to railroad, so I focused on events that could happen instead of a plot line to follow, which I think I learned from campaign 1. And so I've prepared a lot. That one is gonna be 8 sessions exactly because it's over the course of a week, and then there's a wedding at the end, which I'm really excited about. And the plot was really good, is really good. And I've set up when certain things are gonna happen, like a caravan's gonna arrive at a certain point, and all that good stuff. And so I was really excited about that one. Now, campaign 3, I have established, this is in more of a city, so I've established a lot of historical lore to the city. I'm establishing people, I've established government, I've established economy, districts, schooling, the justice and penal system, the like I don't know what else do I have in here, conflicts, religions, cultures, like stuff like that. And so I feel pretty good about that. Where I'm lacking though is filling in the gaps of what could happen during this story, because I know what I want them to do, or not what I want them to do. I have a general goal for them, right? So they're gonna go out and they're going to how do I explain this? I guess it's not really spoilers. They are being selected by the grand magi of this city to go out and kill his competition for the upcoming selection. Now, the selection is how they choose the next grand magi. It happens once every 3 years. If the current grand magi can choose to compete in it again, or they can choose to step down. And other like political parties and groups can submit people forward in order to participate in the selection. The selection can run with any number of people. It runs from it could be 2 people to 32. And historically numbers have varied. Sometimes there isn't even anyone put forward, so the Grand Magi is forced to continue into the next term. And in the selection, they battle to the death. It's like Hunger Games style, and it's broadcast to the entire nation, or city-state, I should say. This is taking place in a city called, I've decided to put a click into the city name and into this language, so it'll be point is, I'm working on my click because I was watching a video about South African languages, and there was one that was like kosa kosa kosa. I can't. I have to look at how they say it again because I don't know how they transition from a click to a vowel, since it's an open sound. Do they go kosa? Do they push the vowel through the click, or is it divisive, kosa? As in, it's you make the vowel shape with your mouth, but you're not pushing the vowel through it. I don't know if you can hear the difference there, kosa and kosa. It kind of sounds like there's a hyphen in the second one. Anyways, the city's called Takosh, whatever. Where was I going with that? I literally totally forget. It's a city-state, right? And so it's a big metropolis hidden up in the clouds, and it's been secluded from the rest of the world for centuries. Actually longer than that. For wait, is an eon 1,000 years? It's been secluded for positive of 4,000 years. And so because of that, it is very culturally distinct from everything else down on the planet of Galdora, which is the place I've created. Y'all, I have a 72-page document on this, with all the details and stuff, which is just quite lovely. What was I saying? I literally forgot again. Oh yeah, so they're culturally distinct from everything else. So their common resembles a more ancient and Old English equivalent of English type of common, right? As opposed to everything else. So they struggle communicating with people down on the surface, but people down on the surface don't know they exist anyway, so they don't really ever go down there. And among the people up in the nation called the Cloud Dwellers, they have several different clouds in which they obtain, the biggest one being Takosh. They have different accents depending on who lives where and whatnot, and cultures and races, which affect voice boxes and stuff like that, or I should say species, which affect voice boxes and the sounds that you can make. So yes, all of this to say, and also governmentally, the government is set up in a way that allows for change very frequently to happen, which these people pride themselves in their ability to change and adapt, and kind of flow with the wind. And let that control. So if something's not working, 3 years later, a new Grand Magi can win the selection, and then they can totally change up the economy. Currently, it's resembling kind of like an idealist communist society in which resources are heavily managed and redistributed out to everyone else. However, there was a conflict with the artisans, so they now permanently have their own autonomy when it comes to their craft. So this more affects like manual laborers and stuff. And so, and like farmers and whatnot, and like those type of resources and trade. And so some people are not happy with that. And so because there's so much change happening in the like biggest leadership spot in Takosh that like controls all of everything that's happening everywhere, there are 3 coordinating committees that kind of are always consistent. Of this coordinating committee, departments of the, I don't know what CC stands for, but I wrote CC. I think it's supposed to be coordinating committees. There are 3 coordinating committees that are always the same. One of them is kind of not, but they have that sort of consistency in order to kind of bring like some sort of unifying aspect, and they hold down the government in some way so that it's not totally changing hands and just like flipping the entire city every 3 years. So there is the selection coordinators, the watch coordinators, and the Grand Magi coordinators. The selection coordinators consistently set up the selection, and they kind of like are in charge of running that. They do investigations on the participants to figure out their strengths and weaknesses in order to make the games most entertaining. They also do like they're essentially the game makers from the Hunger Games, right? They run the games, they broadcast the games, they build the games, like all of that. They are separate because they're a non-biased party, obviously separate from the Grand Magi, because if the Grand Magi could control the selection, then somebody could very quickly become a dictator and whatnot. So they're separate. The watch coordinators are in charge of protection and security of Takosh and the Grand Magi and the Takoshi Grand Nucleus, which is the central building where the Grand Magi lives and most of the big important stuff happens. And that's at the center of the city in the Nuke, which sounds like nuke, but there's a click, which is basically just like the name for the central district in which the Takoshi Grand Nucleus sits. The watch coordinators protect that. They are basically like soldiers, fighters. They're also private investigators. Like they do stealth stuff. They gather intel. It's really just kind of like keeping everyone safe. And if you need intel on somebody, the watch coordinators have you covered. And then the last coordinating committee is the Grand Magi coordinators. And this one is the one that's like, that like isn't always consistent, but they fill in the gaps of everything that the Grand Magi needs governmentally in order to commit to their administration. So in the current state of things with this kind of like intense regulation of resources and trade, the Grand Magi coordinators are like the people who are cracking down on that. Like they are in charge of resource management, resource redistribution, stocks on trade, like stuff like that, where in other times they might be more focused on facilitating a free market or like employing artists or like, I don't know, like stuff like that, commissioning artists, I should say, in different ways. And so they kind of like fill in the gaps of everything that the Grand Magi can't do themselves. And I realize that Magi is plural, but you know what? I don't care. It's my world, so shut up. And it should be mage, but that's besides the point. So I have 3 players. Each of them are, they work in one of the 3 departments. They were chosen, not randomly, they were chosen by the current Grand Magi, Orvan, for the sole purpose of hunting down and killing the other 3 volunteers for the upcoming selection. Now, Orvan, obviously this is like low-key a corrupt move because he's kind of like going under the table hush-hush about getting an advantage and killing them off. Now, Orvan's motivation behind this is that he's a little scaredy cat. Like, he doesn't think he can win. Like, he wants to stay in power, and he thinks that he's doing what is best for Takosh and everyone in it. Does everyone think that's the case? I don't know. We're about to find out. I mean, character-wise, politically, the other parties don't really like him that much. And so the 3 candidates are each backed by like a different party. So we have Rivas, who is kind of like the representative for a group called the People for Justice and Freedom, PJF for short. And they want more of a free market with little to no government intervention, and they really want to establish contact with everyone else in Galdora on the surface because they believe that it's important to facilitate connections like that. That group is unhappy with Orvan, but if he wins, it's like whatever. Their plans are currently just to send Rivas into the selection. Second is Gianna. Gianna represents a group known as the Truth Seekers. The Truth Seekers are backed by the biggest religion in Takosh, known as, it's Tima. I think this is Tima. Y'all, I'm still creating this, okay? Basically, this is gonna get in the weeds. Okay. It's a big religion that worships, oh my gosh, how do I summarize this? Oh, the Truth Seekers are very intense about what they believe. Like, if somebody doesn't agree with them, they're like, death. And so because of that, they don't really like Orvan because he's not a follower of Tima. He's more of a generalist, I think. Is that what I put him as? Y'all, you can tell I really know this well. Yeah, I think he's more of a generalist, which is more of a belief set than a religion, but he just believes that everyone should coexist. He might be a solemnist, though, which is the essentially humanist or hedonist equivalent in this universe, which is also technically a belief set, not really a religion, but that's besides the point. So anyway, Orvan doesn't follow Tima, and so because of that, this group doesn't like him. And so if Gianna doesn't win, they're gonna plan something out to kill him. They're like, we don't stand for this. Like, Gianna has to win, and if not, Orvan's going down. Yeah, so that's the Truth Seekers. And then the third group is represented by Zala. Now, Zala is backed by a group called Banish. And I had to introduce some racism. So, fantasy racism. So Banish is a group that wants to take over Takosh and enslave everyone who is in Yuan-Ti, which are snake people. And they have like a whole hierarchy of like the different races in Takosh and who matters more and like whatever and what they're allowed to do in society. And so they really just want to like hoard all this wealth for the Yuan-Ti elites. Like, it's going to be pretty much like oligarchy running Takosh. Like, people are going to be pissed. It's going to be a whole thing, except for the Yuan-Ti. Although some Yuan-Ti aren't part of it, and also there's some other species, like people of other species that are part of it, because they're like, you guys are too good, like, we suck as a species, like, we think that Yuan-Ti should run everything, you are so much better. And so, Banish is planning on taking Orvan out of the selection before it even starts. Like, they want to get rid of their other contestants, because they need Zala to win. Like, it's intense. They don't want a fair fight. And so my 3 group members are selected by Orvan to go and kill all of these 3 people, which are scattered across the city, which should be exciting. And I'm excited for it. And I just spent 20 minutes explaining the background. This was supposed to be me being creative and using this, like, myself vlogging as like a what's the word, as kind of like an echo chamber for my creative thoughts. And so I've established all of this, and I'm currently working on important people in this universe, because I need names and I need backgrounds of the people. So like I need the lead selection coordinator, lead watch coordinator, lead grand magi coordinator, high priest of grand magi, which is a religion, Tima high pastor, Enerate high pastor, Edagon high pastor, Loxian high pastor, Avplit high pastor, Utikite high pastor, which Tima is the main religion. The Anurates, Edagons, Loxians, Avplits, and Utikites fall under Tima. It's just they also believe in, or not believe, they also seek favor from, okay, so Tima follows this guy, his name is Aeon. He is like basically time himself. He's a fourth dimensional being, so he exists only in time. And he can't interact with the third dimension at all. And so I don't actually know what they believe. Hold on. Guys, I've been cooking this up so quickly that like it's hard to remember. Oh, they believe that Aeon will declare words. Aeon will deliver them from times of peril. So they sacrifice their time through meditation in exchange for kind of like safety from Aeon. Aeon is a fourth dimensional being. These beings are called Chronaku. They exist only in the fourth dimension. Now, Aeon managed to impregnate a woman on Galdora, and she birthed 5 children. They are the half Chronaku, and they can go back and forth between the fourth dimension and the third dimension, allowing them to interact with the third dimension. And at one point they formed the Fierce 5 factions, each kind of like led by one of the half Chronaku. But since the world imploded, that's a whole thing in and of itself. In trying to stop the world from imploding, they got banished from the third dimension. It's a whole thing. So anyways, so Tima believes in Aeon, right? Like ruler guy, whatever. There are subsects of Tima. There's the general Tima, which just kind of like, they just follow Aeon mostly. And then there's the 5 subsects, each following one of the half Chronaku children. The Anurates follow Anura, Edagons follow Edig, Loxians follow Idlox, Avplits follow Avplav, Utikites follow Utik. And each of their temples kind of have distinctive features that indicate that they're a subsect of Tima, right? I hope we're following, because this is a lot of information. Yeah, so each one of the main temples of these subsects and the main temple needs a high pastor. So that's what that all means. And then I also need Calamity Grand Counselor, Malamity Grand Informant, Banish Master, Guide to the People for Justice and Freedom, Revealer of the Truth for the Truth Seekers, Principal of the School of the West, Principal of the School of the East, Mentor of the Magistrate, and the 7 Chairmen of Artire. Now, starting from the top, the Calamity Grand Counselor. Calamity is religion. Calamity, it's like an animist religion. They kind of are positive nihilists, if you will. And they kind of, they believe that the world was supposed to end in the implosion, or before the implosion. They were like, oh, like the world is going to have this like big ending event, world ending event, in which like that's going to be all, like it won't matter. And so because of that, we're just going to like live it up. We're going to be creative, artsy fartsy. We're going to like do psychedelics and make art, like whatever. And so they were just having a good time. And they believe that whatever happens. Okay, so Goldora was created by this outer planes being called Halcyon. And he's the being of calm, right? He is calm. And so because of that, calamity formed from because they follow Halcyon. And they are like, whatever like Halcyon has planned for us, we're gonna follow them. And like that's gonna be that. And so yeah, that's where they get it from. Then the implosion happened, but then Halcyon went and stopped it. So the planet imploded, and then Halcyon was like, whoa, 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 we can't have this happening. So they created like a gravitational anomaly in the center, and now Goldora is split into 7 large plates, which were the previous crust of the planet, that float around and like bang into each other occasionally in space around this gravitational anomaly. It's like kind of insane. I don't know where that came from, but it spawned. Anyway, so Calamity believed that the world was supposed to end in the implosion, and so now they're like, well, might as well live it up. Like, we're still here, we're still kicking. So yeah, they need a grand counselor who's just kind of like a chill guy, honestly. But then after the implosion, Calamity split, and now there's Malamity, which are negative nihilists, essentially. They believe that the world was supposed to end during the implosion, and therefore it didn't, so now they have to atone for being able to live after the implosion. Like, this wasn't supposed to happen, so now they have to like atone for their sins almost. And so they're like kind of creepy. Like, people low-key avoid them. They're like, these people are weird, and they worship by like punishing themselves. So they'll like pinch themselves, cut themselves, hit themselves, like and in severe cases, self-immolation, which, if you don't know what that is, go look it up. It happens when Tibetan monks are really frustrated with China. That's the only example I know of in our world. Anyway, Banished needs a master. I already explained Banished is that political party. And then the guide to the PJF, which is the People for Justice and Freedom. They need a leader. There's also the Revealer of Truth for the Truth Seekers. Then there's the School of the West, School of the East. Those are the typical schools on either side of the island. School of the West turns out like manual laborers, farmers, teachers, kind of like low-level employees, stuff like that. The School of the East turns out like politicians, secretaries, bookkeepers, librarians, accountants, stuff like that. And then the magistrate, I'm getting a call from my friend. He is calling me twice. I'm gonna pick it up on my computer. Hello. It's not working. Hello?
You know what sounds good right now?
What?
Werewolf.
I knew you were gonna say that.
At your house.
I guess y'all can come over. I'm kind of planning right now. I'm vlogging.
I love you.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Patrick. Hi, Patrick.
How is everyone?
We're doing pretty good. There's Travis. Say hi, Travis. Yo, what's up?
Hi.
Patrick. Hey, that guy, his name is Nolan. Patrick.
Hi, Nolan.
Yeah. He's pretty cool.
You caught me mid-vlog.
Yeah, he's like, those are my 2 favorite Asians now. Just like, hands down.
Thomas, I can't put that in.
What?
I'm vlogging.
You're vlogging right now?
Yes.
That's crazy. Hi.
It's
Hi,
you.
vlog.
Yeah.
So cool.
Anyway.
Okay, you want to be in the Patrick vlog? This is the Patrick vlog. Hi, Patrick vlog.
Hi. They say hi.
That's crazy. Okay.
All right. Hi. Hi. So, are y'all gonna like pull up? Just text me.
Okay. We might just show up in like a few minutes.
Oh,
Is that okay?
yeah, that's fine.
If
Just
you want us to not, just it's okay.
no, it's okay. I think I'll ask my roommate, but I think he'll be fine.
Okay. Also, we don't have to do it at your place if you don't want to, because I know that we might be loud. So.
I don't mind hosting, and it's a Saturday night, so I think it'll be okay.
Please don't come back to my house.
I'm not opposed to y'all coming over here. It's just, yeah. I just have to know first.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you're down, we're down.
All right. Well, text me your plans, I guess. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Anyway, so that interlude was fun, but that means that I gotta wrap it up. But I'll finish with this because this is just me explaining the campaign. But the Magistrate is the school. It's in the north. It's so influential that there's a whole district dedicated to it, and it's established its own academic culture. And it turns out like wizards, sorcerers, artificers, investigators, and soldiers. The people who are likely going to end up high in the government. And then the last one was the Seven Chairmen of Artillery. That is in the south in the Artisan District. That's the School of the Artisans, so it's where you go to get crafty, basically. So yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot of me yapping about my homebrew D&D campaign. So if anyone's watching this and they want to hear more about Galdora, I guess let me know. Maybe I'll invite you back. I don't know. I want to start streaming me behind the DM screen. I think that would be super cool. So I think I'll do that. So you'll probably hear more from me anyways, but that's all for now. Bye.